And now, the third, or fourth, or 12th. It depends on what episode order you're listening later in the future. But if it's live right now, you can be certain of this. This is the number 19 ranked golf-related podcast in Canada. It's Circle 3.
What's up? Number 19, golf-related podcast in Canada. I mean, there's no disc golf podcast rankings yet on the Canadian podcast charts, but we'll make that happen. We will make that happen.
What's your guys' favorite 19? What's your favorite 19 related thing?
Kind of everything, but that's like a 5-minute conversation for that specific number. That'll be a separate episode, the after the show segment, and you can use that as a lullaby.
I'm just gonna go Steve Yzerman. It's a no-brainer. That's all.
I mean,
that's a simpler answer than
19. 1 + 9 is 10. I'm super OCD. 10 is a very round number. 10 can be used for a lot of great things, so I will take the mathematical approach. That's where I go with 19, Kerns.
Okay, well, now that I made it super awkward out the gate, it's all uphill from here. So, how you boys doing?
Better
I'm
now.
doing pretty good.
Oh yeah.
It's spring-ummer. It's all the cherry blossoms are gone, and the weather's still cold, but it looks like it's warm. It's the season of regretful shorts.
Yeah, we had ice, rain, and snow today in Michigan. It was beautiful.
Ice,
Sounds
rain,
like a bad 70s cover band.
not ice, rain, and snow. Ice, rain, and snow, like sleet, like slushy rain.
Correct. Yeah, it was 2 items, 2 forms of precipitation.
Speaking of 2 forms of precipitation, we got some fantastic guests tonight who are just, one's a hurricane and the other is just an absolute tsunami. We got 2 members of Team Resistance Discs, well, 1 member of Team Resistance Discs, and Team Resistance Discs himself, Mr. Will Sherrill and Mr. Jeff Korns, and we are gonna bring them on right now. What is up, gentlemen? How is it going? There's the mustache. I just had this feeling I should put Will in the middle of the screen first. That worked out so fantastic.
In the world of mustaches, we're going for a little ride tonight.
Yeah, for those of you listening in the audio version of this at home later, just be thankful.
Yeah. What is up, Will? What is up, Jeff? Jeff is in an RV right now in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and getting ready for the J-Bro Open. And how has your time on the road been the last couple weeks, Jeff?
Oh, it has been so good to be back out on the road. Last year was nice because I got to start Resistance Discs, and that probably wouldn't have got started last year if it wasn't for COVID canceling the season. But now being back out on the road is all I could ever ask for, and it is really nice to be out traveling everywhere.
Oh yeah, but the weather's pretty nice down there.
It's been kind of weird, honestly, because we had first couple days here it was really warm and humid, then it rained a couple times, and it's been really cold the past couple days, but then it also gets weird sticky humid also. But I think it should be pretty decent for the rest of the weekend.
Okay. Sounds like no ice rain, so that's cool.
No, none of that. So very thankful for that.
So I gotta ask genuinely, Kerns, do you guys not call that sleet in the States? Is that not a word you use?
I mean, yeah, it's
okay.
Some people call it that, but I mean, I'm not a sheep, bro. Okay, so ice rain sounds cooler.
No, I just know,
Does it though?
Yeah,
you're
100%.
up in Michigan. You're one of the only guys. When I say double, most people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Kerns just gets this fire in his eyes when I say double.
Right.
So Jeff, where's the next stop on the road for you guys after Jonesboro?
After this, we are heading to Emporia, Kansas for the Dynamic Discs Open.
Hell
and
yeah.
And after that, I mean, I honestly just want to get through that because after that is my favorite part of the swing. It is the West Coast swing. Being from California and then living in Oregon, I just can't wait to get back to the West Coast, see family, and then I think it's some of the nicest weather we get really all year.
Yeah,
that is the truth.
I told Paul and Kerns this morning. I'll drop this on the podcast today. It's kind of a funny story. So I actually am running the virtual Dynamic Discs Open for DD through the Disc Golf Valley video game. We run a stream, and I think last year like almost 1,000 people signed up and played. It was crazy. But anyways, I had a meeting this morning with some of the DD guys, and I'm sitting there and I'm realizing while I'm on Zoom that I'm wearing a Discraft sweater and a Discraft hat, and then I get warm and I take my sweater off and I'm wearing a Discraft t-shirt. And I'm like, yeah, I could have prepped better for this meeting this morning. But
that's our underground team.
Those guys
Subtle
from
as always.
those guys from Dynamic Discs are fantastic, and they're super excited to put on the Dynamic Disc Open this year. We were talking about some of the stuff they have planned for the street party and the bonfire, and it's going to be a good time. You guys are going to have a fun time down there. Have you gone before to Dynamic Disc Open?
Yeah, I think this will be my third like GBO DDO, and it's always a fun one. Like the block party is really special. It's like cool to just see everyone, and then also just like it's so fun walking around all week and people just like recognizing you. It's a super weird thing. Like the sport's definitely blown up to like a different level this year, where like I'll be in a Walmart with Adam and someone will just be like, dude, you're Adam Hammis, like what the heck, like this is insane. I'll be like, we're in Walmart, like why do you know who we are, like what's going on? But like we get that all the time in Emporia, so I'm curious if it's going to be like even more insane this year.
That's wicked.
Nice.
Hey, speaking of the virtual GBO, I came in 13th last year.
And that was before I knew who Will Sherrill was. I was saying this guy's name probably on the broadcast, and actually I think there's a couple people last year who played. I think David Carter was playing along too, and it's cool. It's a fun time, and it's going to be great. So we really want to get to know you guys in this first segment and talk a little bit about you and how you got into disc golf. Will, we'll start with you. So North Carolina, born and raised there, been there all your life?
Yeah, man. I grew up in Statesville, which is just like 45 minutes north of Charlotte. But I didn't really start playing disc golf, so I went to ECU and started playing in Greenville with Max Krotz and the Greenville Disc Golf Club, and got introduced to it there by a couple college buddies that they would like swim for discs at the local course and come, which I know is like now, like I had no etiquette then, but they like came back with like 100 discs in like a huge 55-gallon trash can, and we're like, hey, grab a couple, we're going to the course. And so that's how I started playing disc golf. And then I thought I was really hot shit and went to doubles and just got smacked. And I was like, okay, I'm not good at this, but I'm gonna be. And yeah, so that's how I kind of got introduced to disc golf.
That's fantastic. And Jeff, what about you, sir? How did disc golf start for you? I mean, I was creeping your profile today and I saw the Oregon gear and the Ultimate background. So I'm guessing it started with Ultimate for you.
So I got introduced to like disc sports when I was a baby. My dad has been playing disc sports for like 40 years. He's PDGA 1510. Wow. So he's super OG. I give him crap still to this day. Like, why didn't you get me a PDGA number when I was born? Because, you know, I could have literally probably been in like the 11,000s. Like, I went back to my birthday to like figure out like looking at people's PDGA profile, and I could literally be in the 11,000s if my dad got me one when I was born. I give him crap. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, it would have been so cool these days. But now I'm like, my number's in like the 69,000s, and that still seems, I win tiebreakers for like low scores now on like some of these events, and I'm just like, what's going, like, why? Like 69,000, that's so high. But it's like there's 100,000 people after me now. It's insane. So I got into Ultimate. Like, that's what I thought I really wanted to do when I was in middle school and high school. I went to the University of Oregon intending to play Ultimate, wanted to play for their team. I got there, played for like the part of the fall term. I was just like, man, like this wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. And then I got like introduced to some of the people on the disc golf team at like our club sports fair. And they were just like, oh, like, you know, you play disc golf, like you should come play with us, come play a tournament. Like, you know, you can throw a disc already. So got into that, went to a tournament. The team was super cool. And I'm like, these guys are so awesome. Like, I just want to hang out with these guys and play more disc golf. And took off from there, went to Collegiate Nationals my freshman year, met Paul Macbeth and Nate Sexton at Collegiate Nationals. And I was like, dude, these tour guys are so cool. Like, this is awesome. Like, I want to do more of this, and then it just kind of spiraled from there.
Dude, what year was that you were at? Because I played for Eastern Michigan University, and I remember, I think it was our second year, we played against an Oregon team, and I know Paul Macbeth and two other pros did like a flyover where they threw discs over all of us for the national anthem.
Yeah, I was there. Let's see. My first year there was it was in 2015, so it was like the 2014-15 collegiate season.
I think that was my last year. So we were both it was at the Killer Bee disc golf shop.
Yeah, it was at the Hippodrome. Yeah.
Dude, we probably crossed paths.
We probably did. That's crazy. I had no idea.
What could have been? It could have
Yeah.
been me on Team Resistance right now.
You should have applied for Team Resistance. We had applications.
I know.
2022.
I'm on two teams right now, and I don't know. There's a lot. I'll think about it. Can I work some 2020 TS Lunas in the deal?
Ooh, I mean, for the amount that those are going these days,
Mid-season
that's
addition to Team
money.
Resistance.
I'm getting bribed over here.
It's an interesting story. I also crossed paths with Jeff. My very first time at Alton Baker Park, the course pro was walking me around, and he was like, "That's Jeff Korns. This is what he does. This is who he is." And I was like, "I know." And I was like, "Hey, Jeff." And you turned around and you were like, "Hey." And then you kept walking, so.
Full circle. Full circle.
Oregon always trips me out because I do go to so many tournaments and stuff. I know so many people, and then I go on the road and I meet hundreds of people throughout the year, and then I come home and people still see me, and then they're there's just so many people, and then I'm always have we met on the road? Have we met here? And I'm always crap, I cannot remember that guy's name right now, and it drives me insane sometimes. I really admire Eric Oakley because he remembers everybody's name. If you walk up to Eric Oakley, introduce yourself, and meet him on the course, and you see him the next year, he'll probably remember your name. And
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, you should try it and see if maybe potentially prove me wrong, but he is really good at that, and I respect the hell out of that because it's kind of cool. And it definitely
I'm horrible at
leaves a
names.
lasting impression on people.
You definitely have the whole I know I know you. No, I don't think I do. I'm gonna say hi anyway thing down really well. Communicated all that in one look.
So let's I want to switch gears back over to Will here for a minute. So Will, I know this, maybe a lot of people don't, but you were voted third sexiest firefighter in your state, I think. But
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm
go.
curious how you balance. How did you get into firefighting? And then the follow-up to that for me would be, how do you balance that with disc golf and family? Because I believe you stay multiple days at the station.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually took to firefighting way later in life than the rest of my family, because my dad was a firefighter when I was growing up. So he was at Statesville Fire for 19 years, and then he went to the private sector for a little bit. Now he's back in firefighting. And my brother is a firefighter at Concord Fire. So it's been in my family. And I recently, I was working for a pressure washing and window cleaning place, which was great because I had all the time in the world to play disc golf. But I was I need a steady career, something I can kind of grow into. And I saw that Asheboro Fire was hiring, and I was like, well, why not? I'll give it a try. And so I did, and got hired, I guess, it was right there in the middle of COVID. So it was super weird. I interviewed in March, and then they I took an aptitude test in March, and then they shut everything down for 2 months. And then in May, I had a physical agility test, and then I got hired the next week after that, and we did an academy all summer. So I really enjoy firefighting. I love it, and the schedule I work is really cool, and actually more conducive to disc golf than you would think, because we work 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, and then we get 96 off. So we get 4 straight days off. And so really we work 3 shifts with days in between, and then we get 4 straight days off. And so really all I have to do to get 6 days off is take 1 day at the beginning or end of my cycle. And I'm able to, you can do a lot in 6 days, you can do a lot in 4 days. And so a lot of times I have at least one of the 2 weekend days off, Well, I always have at least one off, and so I'm able to, if there's a tournament on just like a 1-day C tier on Saturday, I can do that. Or sometimes I'm not working Sunday and I can play tournaments then. But then every once in a while I just have like the whole weekend off, and so I can pretty easily play tournament. As far as family goes, I mean, I'm home way more. I only work like 10 days a month, and so while I am gone for 24 hours at a time, like I'm also home for 24 hours at a time. So it's pretty easy to balance things.
That's awesome. Do you have a practice basket at the station?
I have 2 practice baskets at home. I've got a couple of them, and I want to take one to work, but I also kind of want to like not be made fun of. And so if you know anything about fire departments, that you should know that they're ruthless when it comes to anything strange about you. And so they know that I play disc golf. Like the other day I was getting off shift and had a tournament to go to, and so like I came out of my bedroom like wearing my tournament stuff, and they were all like giving me side eye, like, what are you doing? You look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask.
Dealership, and it's probably similar.
Yeah.
What is this tournament outfit you have?
Well, it's just like the normal like polo with Discraft and Team Resistance on it, and I'm like, it's tucked in. I'm looking sharp. I whenever I go to tournaments, I like to look good.
The hair's slicked back off to the right. He's looking fresh.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, we know how Will Sherrill rips. Let's go.
We are gonna talk some tournament fashion here in our next segment.
Sure. One question I have for Will, really quick, Chris, is Will, when it comes to you said you have a weekend every now and then to get a chance maybe to play a tournament. Are there any tournaments on the schedule that are like a must play for you? And if you want to, do you have the ability to, make sure you get those in there?
For sure. And the good thing is we're allowed to like trade our shifts among the firefighters. And so like if I needed a day off, I could, or even like just the day, like I could be off from 8 to 7 p.m. and have time to like do a tournament if I really wanted to. And so, and also like we get a lot of comp time and stuff like that. So it's pretty easy to take days if nobody else has requested off. But as far as like the must play tournaments in North Carolina, the Down East Players Cup down in Greenville, which I think is going to be a really big event this year because it's like the week before or the week after the Pro Tour Championships in Charlotte. And it's an A tier, and he's going to have 10,000 added cash to this. Ooh. And that is the tournament. Like my first B tier that I ever played was the Down East Players Cup in Greenville. It's where ECU is. And that club has really stepped up and made that tournament just incredible. And so that's one that I'm going to be at every year that I can, which this year I think I'll probably end up having to take some time off to do it. But it's worth it. Those courses are awesome.
Trading shifts makes me think of when I worked at Blockbuster. Blockbuster makes me think of Oregon, where both Paul and Jeff are from, because Bend, Oregon has the last Blockbuster in the world,
nice.
Which I would die to go to, because I worked at Blockbuster for a really long time. I started low. I was an assistant manager there. I got my 10 free rentals a week. Best job ever. And I watched that documentary on Netflix, brought back so much nostalgia.
We should get them as a sponsor. The last Blockbuster
just the last one.
I was there just a couple weeks ago.
Were you actually?
Yeah. You should come on down and get your COVID vaccine. We got plenty to go around apparently, and
have them send us one laser disc a month.
Laser disc golf now from Blockbuster.
So I think it's probably about time for that giveaway, huh? Or do you have another file of?
I think really quick, I got one question for Jeff before we move into that giveaway. So Jeff, people know you from videos with Paul Macbeth and Brody Smith and all these people, but more recently this year, and probably to your absolute satisfaction, people are getting to know you for your website and your team, Resistance Discs. And I know Resistance is blown up. One thing I love about Resistance, and this isn't me fluffing you, buddy, I promise, just such a clean website. I really appreciate that. Great experience on the site. Last disc I got from Resistance was a really nice pink hearts on like kind of reddish pink Missy Gannon Undertaker from the Tour Series drop. And I ordered that thing at like 2 p.m, and I got my shipping packing notification at like 4:30 from Resistance. So I've had great experiences from the site. It's been awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you got that started, man, and how your baby got growing.
Yeah, so how it all kind of got started was like, our season got canceled last year at Waco for like off season 2.0. I went home, I like had a bunch of inventory left. Like I had a lot of really like cool stuff and just random stuff. So I like threw a bunch of stuff together in mystery boxes and like sent them all out. And Bob was like, wow, looks like, you're still pushing discs and doing everything, like he's like, you should probably start like a website or something and keep moving plastic. We don't know how long COVID's going to last and stuff. So he's like, put a website together, start a brand. And I was like, okay, I guess I can do that. Like, so came up with Resistance discs. I don't really remember how I came up with it. It just kind of sounded cool with like the people I was working with at the time, and we just went with it and got everything moving. I think I started off really well because people knew who I was, and they just started checking out what I was doing. And then originally planning to tour with Adam. Immediately I was like, hey, like let's do some collabs, like let's get some custom runs going, let's get your stamps up on our site, like, do you want to be like my first team player on like Resistance? And he was like, absolutely, like let's keep pushing this and blow this up. So I definitely give a lot of credit to Adam for jumping in early and starting helping push the brand a lot. So, and then at the end of the year, things went a lot better than I had imagined through COVID. And the amount of plastic we were able to move, that I was like, I think we need to grow. We need to start picking up some more players, some more people to rep the brand, and like all levels, from the elite level to brand ambassadors to people, just everywhere in between. So we really pushed the team this year, and I think it's really showing. And I'm super stoked with how everything's going.
That's amazing, awesome, man. Well, we are going to move into our first sponsor break. Sponsored by Sweet Spot Disc Golf, and we will be back in just a few seconds with the Circle 3 podcast. Catch you soon.
Gather round, children. I, Ganfrolf, will tell you a tale of the times before. Of a legendary place, the sweetest spot in all the land, where circles of plastic would appear, glowing from our screens, and with the ritual of the cart, they would appear days later at our doors. The richest colors, the finest discs, and the kindest people. Oh, it truly was a sweet spot for disc golf. Some say this place still exists. It's vault sealed, the treasures glittering inside, awaiting the great prophecy of Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that comes again. I hope you will be there.
Sweet Spot Disc Golf. So good, our advertising department writes fan fiction about us.
Sweet Spot Disc Golf. Gotta love them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Don and Katie for sponsoring the podcast. And the keyword, and I haven't typed it in yet, folks, so I would not advise entering it until I tell you to. Oh, you're going to get me on the giggle train, Kerns. You're going to get me on the giggle train. Yeah. The keyword is sweet. S-W-E-E-T, sweet. So let's toss
sweet
that
W.
keyword. Sweet ass W. S-W-E-E-T, sweet. Let's get that keyword flowing in the YouTube chat. We are going to give away our Sweet Spot Disc Golf giveaway. That is a $25 gift code to use on Sweet Spot Disc Golf. Katie and Don wanted me to remind you that oh, sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting a message here from Paul. Chris, you
Katie and Don wanted to remind Brandon what Katie and Don reminded him of.
Yeah, you guys don't know. That the gift card is also usable on the vault. Chris, why don't you tell them a little bit about the Sweet Spot Vault while they're typing sweet into the chat?
The vault is where essentially dreams come true. You'll find some gems from last year's Tour Series run. It's all manufacturers, so you might find some cool Coaling Thunderbirds, Sexton Firebirds, 2020 Tour Series Lunas. They're overrated, but some people like them. So it's kind of sweet that you can just pop in on Tuesdays and Fridays. I think it's usually from 7 to 8 Eastern. And just for that hour, they just drop gems and you can jump in, and they're actually below market value for the most part. So it's kind of a cool thing they do. I dig it a lot. I've gotten a couple Lunas there.
You dig Lunas, really? You like buying
sure?
Lunas, Kerns? Are you sure
I know,
about
I'm
that?
usually a Proto Onyx guy, but
We're gonna do this every week.
All right, we're gonna run this giveaway, and the winner tonight of our Sweet Spot giveaway is Josh Capson. Thanks for joining us, Josh. Josh Capson, you are the winner of the Sweet Spot giveaway. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger. If you cannot find me, I am in the admin list on the Discraft Beth and Pierce Collectors Group. Send me a message. We will get you that gift code, sir. And remember, you may use that on the vault Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. All right, folks.
heck yeah, and I think we're going to jump right into the thing everyone really wants to talk about right now, which is event fashion.
Just 1 second before that, Chris.
Yes.
And we are back with the Circle. And we are back with the Circle 3 podcast.
Hey, Brandon,
Yes, Paul.
are we back yet?
We are back now with the Circle 3 podcast.
And what are we back with?
I can't edit YouTube, but I can edit audio. So one more time. And we are back, folks, with the Circle 3 podcast live here
Wait, who's
with
back?
Chris Kerns, Paul Blair, Jeff Korns, Will Sherrill, and we're going to move into our second segment now. Chris Kerns, I will pass the baton to you, sir.
Baton.
Banana.
Yes. So I want to talk some event fashion. So I started playing disc golf like 08, and cutting edge and disc golf gear back then was like some Birkenstocks, maybe a fish t-shirt, and some like thin corduroys. But yeah, some canopy cargos. You were getting it. You looked 1,000 rated. But today it's a little different, and I gotta say, Will, if I was going to adopt someone's fashion, it would be yours. The thing is, I can't pull it off, but I figured we can get into some event fashion. So what are some key things you're looking for when you're suiting up for game day?
For sure. Well, I'm definitely on the team of look good, play good. And so I'm always going for maximum comfort plus style. So I've got some pretty wild shirts, and I'm thankful because shout out to my wife. She has like one of those Cricut machines that can kind of like cut out vinyl, iron on vinyl for all of my stuff. And we've gotten to make some cool shirts. And what I usually do is, honestly, I just go like Marshalls or TJ Maxx or, any of those like stores that have last year's stuff. And I'll just go and buy all their polos and like their sport, Under Armour, Adidas, whatever I can find. And I'll just put my logos on it. So I've got a pretty sweet one that's like America themed. It's an Adidas polo, but it has like USA printed on the chest.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah,
I think I've got that.
And I put my logos on it. It looks awesome. So
Will-
I'm all
Will-
about that.
Will loads his closet up
What
with
was that?
Under Armour, and he says, I got my sponsor's logo here. I got my sponsor's logo here on the arm.
Putting on you, Under Armour. Yeah.
Dude, a good place to scout for you is check out Sierra Trading Post.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's-
I use Steep and Cheap every once in a while. If you've heard of that,
Okay.
that's a good one. It's a good one as well.
Scope
They've got
that
some
out.
pretty good deals. But yeah, I also get a ton of hand-me-downs too, because I'm pretty good friends with Dan Hastings, and so it seems like every time I go to his house, he like hands me a pile of Discraft shirts, and it's like, here you go.
Who's
This
that
shirt,
guy?
This shirt is his.
Is he a disc golfer or?
Yeah, he's not bad. He's a little
What about
hurt
you,
right
Jeff?
now,
What do
but
Jeff, if I recall, you like to wear a lot of black, kind of like the Johnny Cash of the tour, but maybe I'm wrong. What are maybe some key
So-
apparel items that you like?
I do wear like black somewhat frequently. The other thing I wear, so I have a apparel sponsor that I work with called Oahu Golf Apparel, and they're from the island of Oahu. They have some really sick like floral printed and just like more loud pattern polos, and I've been wearing a lot of those this year because they just dropped like a huge collection of them this season. And they're actually like working with like a lot of like really cool athletes like on both the PGA and the LPGA tour, and then like just other like random pro athletes. Like the guy who owns it was telling me that they were sending some polos to Tom Brady like before the Super Bowl and stuff like that, like
That's
just
wicked.
all sorts of like wild stuff. And I'm like, whoa, like this is kind of cool. And he's like
Nice.
like getting really interested in looking into the disc golf market. He heard about like Paul's $10 million deal, and he was like, wait, like disc golf's like really big? And I'm like, dude, you'd be surprised. So he's definitely like looking to, potentially jump into the disc golf market at some point.
Now's the time to
Maybe
dive
do some
in.
stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's what I think is really underrated, and here's like two things. If I'm going to advise anyone or share a secret weapon, which it shouldn't be a secret, but the dry fit or performance boxer brief. It changed
that's
my
all
life.
I wear.
Yep.
Yeah, it changed my life, and now there's like even more advanced ones that like really secure things, if you know what I mean. Like you put your stuff in a compartment, and you don't have to worry about an X step. And
Like
then
your wallet in a glove box, or what are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I got
And then the
those
socks.
Kerns. They're called My Package. I order them online. They're pretty fantastic. They call it the keyhole pocket. Kerns.
Okay, is
They're
that what
on
that
those.
hoodie is? Is that my package?
That's exactly what this hoodie is. Make moves.
Actually, it'd be make less moves, right? Because it's
And we're back with Circle 3.
oh, that's C1X, bro. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh man, comfort's
Nice.
important. So this is off disc golf topic, but I mean bowling, is kind of like one of those alternate sports that, trying to gain some respect. Aside from Kevin Hart almost bowling a perfect game the other day, did you guys hear about this guy named the Ginger Assassin? You were talking about your USA shirt, Will. This is the only reason I'm thinking about this guy. I have never seen a more America shirt than the shirt this guy was wearing. And he is the fourth person ever in the history of bowling to hit a 7-10 split on live televised TV. No one's hit one in 30 years. And the other day, he hit a 7-10 split on TV. And the announcer went nuts. Voice cracking. Like it was the greatest thing. If you guys haven't seen it, look up Ginger Assassin on Google, and the first thing you'll see is just these videos. Will, you look like you saw that video, buddy.
I did see it. It was incredible.
I have not seen this. I'll have to look Ginger Assassin. Okay.
See, now we're
have to
talking
be
about a sport
careful
that I've
on
got some
what I
history
click on.
with. I actually lettered in bowling in high school.
No way. We got to hear about
Yep.
this a little bit, Paul.
How
Well,
many
that's almost
chevrons
the
did you
entire
have?
story, actually. I lettered in bowling, and I had friends there, and I was pretty bad but good enough, and it was an academic letter because they couldn't get it sponsored as a sport, and they stopped it after 2 years. So, the end.
Well, that was an absolute fantastic story.
Poetic.
This
Poetic.
is why I do the announcements and not the content.
Well, Paul, while we have you on the screen, we can ask you about our next topic first, because I mean, you play disc golf, you love disc golf, so lots of people have different favorite types of courses. So when you are out playing, Paul, what is your favorite kind of course to play?
Dry. Being from Oregon, that means a lot. We could talk footwear here for ages, but a dry course is a joy. It really, you can shoot 105 on a dry course, and it's more fun. It's more fun than under par on a wet one.
Yep.
In Oregon, yeah, Jeff, we carry towels all year long. I played in Bend a couple of weeks ago, and over the east side of the Cascade Range, it's all desert. And Bend, there was sand and dust and not a puddle on the course. And I was wiping my discs off because they were dusty. It was mind blowing. So as I realize it may not be the answer you're after because you want some technical tree carving, I prefer this kind of disc kind of thing, but no, I just like being outside when it's not mud.
That's a great answer. I absolutely love that. What about you, Jeff?
That basically like sums up how I spend my off seasons too in Oregon. Is if it's raining, I'm probably not playing that day. If it's nice out, I'm gonna definitely play, because playing rainy rounds sucks. It rarely happens on tour, I feel like, because just the way the schedule shapes up. So I just don't care. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play in the rain. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just gonna wait till tour or whatever. I'll wait till the next sunny day. But
you'll notice the Oregon events are scheduled in like dead smack summertime.
yeah, all the top best ones are definitely like in the summer. I've played so many golf course temp courses in the winter this year, and wow, tee pads can be rough.
So Will,
if they even have them.
Yeah, if they're not, I saw a video of someone from our group throwing the other day on a tee pad that was literally underwater, and she laced it still. But I was like, I have never thrown in those conditions because I've just never had the drive or desire to play in those conditions.
Well, that's the thing about the spring and the fall here is, the water doesn't go away. It'll be sunny for a day or two, and that water's still there. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't play in the rain. That's just a given. But like then a nice day, it could still be muddy. You could still be underwater.
So you guys have a drainage problem.
No, the ocean's right there. It's just gets backed up.
How cool is my water bottle right now?
I know, it's a ghost water bottle. I was going to comment on that. That's pretty freaking crazy. Will, with your style of play, buddy, would you rather play an open course? Would you rather play a course where you're playing in the woods? Where do you feel you get an advantage?
Advantage for me is definitely in open courses, but I don't really love like golf style disc golf. I would rather it be kind of a hybrid wooded and open golf. I want to be able to hit lines, but have the fairways be fair. I hate when I go to a course and it feels like the course designer just made it hard for no reason. Instead of forcing you to throw a shot shape, they force you to lay up to a certain area, then pitch up. I don't like that kind of golf, but I love attackable, just difficult courses that require distance and technical skill. You're not going to be able to just throw a hyzer, but you have to throw something, that's going to flip up and turn and fade back. But any holes that are 350 to 450, I'm going to excel in. That's kind of my money zone right there.
It's funny you talk about the golf course golf, because it's really different here in Canada, the landscape right now, because per square mile, the amount of golf courses is just so much less. In a 50-mile radius here, we have 5 or 6 disc golf courses, where there's some places, and this is a high density place, where there's low density places in the States where in a 50-mile radius, you've got 30 disc golf courses, right? So for us, golf course golf has actually become something I've fallen in love with this year, because the parks aren't filled with people, and with COVID and everyone spending their time outdoors, the public park courses and the public kind of access courses have just become so congested with non-disc golfers. And it's been cool to introduce new people to the sport, but it's gotten to a place where it's just so busy that they started to open up disc golf on some ball golf courses. And for us, it's just sweet salvation, where we can actually play golf. And as the winter months started to get nicer through the end of February and March, we've almost had 2 full months now of snow off the ground, which is month and a half of snow off the ground where I live, which is really nice. And we've been playing, and it's really cool, because what you said is kind of what they've done at this golf course near me, which is closed now, which sucks because the ball golf season's starting. But they really utilized the golf course, but then the golf course had adjacent woods, so they actually took the time to cut out little entryways into the trees and carve little landing zones for the greens. So you might have a 600 foot wide open shot that's not too technical, but then the last 200 feet of it for the par 5 are a complete 90-degree right-hand turn into the forest. So it was really cool to see what people that finally got a chance to be creative, who have been wanting to do this in Canada for so long, did with it, right? And it was really neat. So I've fallen in love with that. I'll pay to play if I can actually play and not have to avoid every hole because, oh, can't throw this one because there's people on it. Oh, can't throw this one because there's people on it. If I can pay $15 and play a course all day, I will do that any day. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but maybe I'll ask you guys. Will, you're here right now. How do you feel about pay to play?
For sure. I think that's the way the sport is going, with the rapid, acceptance of disc golf, especially because of COVID. I think we're gonna start seeing more courses become that because of just the demand for it. There's some courses here like Johnson Street Park in High Point. It's a super basic course from white tees. It's just like, I should go out there and shoot like 14, 15 down from the whites. But you go out there, it's packed. You go after work, it's packed. You can hardly, you're playing behind somebody the whole time. So I would not be surprised if more courses, some golf courses probably, end up opening pay to play courses, and I'm all for it. As long as the course stays clean, stays cut, that money's going somewhere, I'm in 100%.
I saw you nodding along there too, Jeff. I think that's something that you like the experience of too.
Yeah, I'm definitely fine with pay to play course. There's a couple in my area. There's a couple like free to play, a couple pay to play. If you have like a good, I'm not gonna go pay to play at a course where it's not maintained well. That's why I'm paying. I'm paying to have like a golf, more like a ball golf experience. So, if it was a really nice, well-maintained course, take Maple Hill, for example, I'm pretty sure on the weekends, I don't know if it's year-round or if it's in the summer months or something, but I think on the weekends at Maple Hill, it's $20 to play, I think all day, or if it's a round or whatever it is, I'd absolutely play that. They keep that place looking, manicured and spectacular all the time. So, but I think if I live there locally, I'd obviously buy a membership if that's available, but I think pay to play is a direction the sport's definitely going, especially at the courses that are going to be considered more championship level or high quality tournament courses. Definitely going to probably get more towards the pay to play level.
It's funny because we did some research here when we were looking at, the feasibility of opening some of these courses on golf courses and having them operate in tandem with the golf course during the actual golf season. And we've got a couple of them. And the courses that are working well, it's funny because the research we've got from them, the number one thing that stands out, and if any of you guys are trying to work with your township or your city and get a course in a ball golf course, some research we did that I'm sure is succinct with you is disc golfers spend a lot more money at the facilities. If there's a pro shop at the facility, if there's a restaurant, if there's food and beverage service, if there's alcohol, beer carts, if they sell drinks at the pro shop, because disc golfers aren't spending 60, 70, 80 bucks just for their round, plus 20 bucks for their cart, plus 15 bucks for a sleeve of 3 golf balls that they're going to lose all of because, let's face it, we all suck at golf. It's great. And the disc golfers have reinvested in the courses I know that are staying open year round are thriving because of disc golf. And it's been amazing to have some of those successful courses for us as a testament to new courses. We want to kind of take the leap and try this. So if you guys are trying to do that, just really let them know that disc golfers will give back and invest in the facility. If you give them somewhere to play, the disc golfers will have your back. Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come, and they will come with their money.
They will buy snacks.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. I've worked with a lot of courses that have, or tournaments on temporary golf courses where their response from the staff is holy crap, you guys drink. And I'm yeah, disc golfers they're always blown away by it, how much disc golfers drink compared to golfers drink. And I'm yeah, we put some baskets out here, and there will be people drinking every weekend, watching sports when they're not on the course. Give disc golfers a chance. They will spend money that golf courses don't realize.
You got to stay hydrated. Our sport's way more active.
Yeah, we got to walk pretty much everyone.
Yeah. I will say there's a golf course about an hour from me, Pine Hills. They put a disc golf course on their back nine. And the following year, it did so well, they put another course on their front nine. And they actually did a really good job kind of weaving in and out of the golf course, and all the golf greens are OB islands. And it's awesome. You pay, I think it's $18. You can play all day. You get a cart, and we love it. I go there a couple times a year, and we'll road rally, we'll do match play, we'll just spend a whole day out there. And when the golfers come through, you just give them right away, and they're in and out in no time. But it's a lot of fun. I love pay to play. Most of our courses are, our metro parks. Our metro park system is great. Pretty much every metro park has one or two courses. I mean, Kensington Metro Park, they've got two, and now, they're, I don't know I think they're putting tee pads in on the toboggan. So Kensington's awesome. Maybe they're not. But then we've got our county parks too that are pay to play now. But they're all the parks are actually putting money into the courses and making them better, getting new baskets. So I love it. Keeps some of the flies off. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, we are going to move into our next sponsor break, sponsored by the amazing Wolf Pack Discs, Mr. Brian Frawley of Wolf Pack Discs, hooking us up. Thank you so much, Brian. And we're going to go to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back with our giveaway and with the Circle 3 podcast. Stay tuned.
You know that sound. That's the sound of grabbing up
Wolfpack
at the end of a long week. There's nothing better than cracking open a cold
Wolf?
and feeling that buzz
That's Discraft. Discraft Buzz.
start to take hold. At the end of a long work day, at the end of a long week, reach for us.
Wolfpack Discs.
We'll be there for you.
And we are back with the Circle 3 podcast. I got Mr. Chris Kerns on the screen here with me. Chris Kerns, how long have you known Brian Frawley for?
Ooh, I have known Brian, I want to say, since like 2014. One of my first events was a gateway into the woods. It was kind of a one dish challenge thing. And
Quick
that's
interruption.
back-
Sorry, Chris. Before we banter, guys, the keyword is wolf. I forgot to tell you that. The keyword is wolf. Start typing that
Wolf.
keyword in the chat. Back to Chris.
But back then, Wolfpack Discs had a partnership with Gateway. Now they're with Discraft. But I've known Brian a long time now, and there's a couple cool events we go together and play each year. And he's just a great guy. The closer you get to Brian, the more you love the guy. So he treats people he's close with like family.
I think my first connection to Wolfpack was through Phil Delaney, and I was checking out his sponsors. Phil's come up to play, as we said on a previous test pod with him. He's come up to play Canada here a couple times, and he's such a cool guy. And I started to check out Wolfpack and saw some of the awesome people Wolfpack sponsors, and then started to encounter Brian when I started buying. And realizing that Brian Frawley's got some heat, but what Brian Frawley's really got the heat of is stock discs. Brian Frawley has got heat stacks of stock discs. So if you see Brian Frawley posting a stack and you need some like really, really sexy stuff, make sure you're following that stack, because I can promise you.
Today he's posting like $150, I think, mystery boxes.
Ooh.
I saw him post it on Facebook today.
So what kind of technology does that water bottle use, Chris? Because like it doesn't look like it can really hold much.
It's just green. It's a nice little hydro flask.
I'm just
32 ounce.
I'm just messing around.
Way to
with you.
play
It looks
along
like a
there,
ghost.
Kerns.
Way to play along, buddy.
Yeah, just steamrolled right through it. Steamrolled right through it.
And our winner,
Why?
folks, for the Wolfpack Discs giveaway. Roll it. David Cotta is going to be wearing a sexy Wolf Pack Discs snapback hat. Congratulations, David Carter. You are our Wolf Pack Discs giveaway winner.
Do we have our first ever news special edition coming up here?
We do. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the Circle 3 podcast. Coming to you live now is Mr. Paul Blair with our first ever Circle 3 news break.
Right. Hi from the newsroom. In the most important news that matters to me, the 2021 Beaver Steep Fling has been canceled due to both fire damage and then ice damage. It is the apocalypse out there. We wish them the best. Eagle D. Claude, Paul and Ricky back at number 1. That's not the biggest news in this week's ratings. Congratulations to Mr. Andrew Simmons, PDGA number 166681, number of the beast mode. Mr. Simmons is now 7th ranked worldwide, with $55 in career earnings in his one tournament, taking 2nd place at a Flex Start C tier. See, the rating system works. In other news, Will Sherrill got an ace, I'm told. So that's good. The province of Ontario has been placed into a COVID-related lockdown. You should stay inside. Apparently, though, exercise is exempt. Got a friend that doesn't play disc golf? They do now. We were going to have more news, but we don't. So that's it. Bye.
Thank
Well
you,
done,
Paul, for our first ever Circle 3 news break. And yes, the province of Ontario is in lockdown, but they've deemed disc golf, and they actually listed Frisbee golf as an essential form of exercise during the COVID lockdown. So huge shout out to a guy here.
Learn how to play it.
Huge shout out to a guy here named Jeff McKeegan, who's literally like lobbied the city to keep disc golf courses open and just put presentations together and gone. And the city went and they convinced the province that this was an acceptable form of physical activity. So bravo to Jeff McKeegan. No one knows who he is, but I'll give him a shout out anyways. And yeah, it's been pretty great to be able to play disc golf, because I swear to God, with this, we're literally in a stay-at-home order. We do not have any retail stores open. Everything is curbside pickup. You need to place orders for everything in advance. Public transit, you're only supposed to go on if it's like an absolute necessity. Probably 80% of workplaces are operating from like a work-at-home capacity. So it's pretty rough here. If I couldn't play disc golf, I'd be going crazy.
Yeah, you guys need some like Americanized immune systems. That's what I'm gathering out of this.
We just need to figure out how to actually efficiently get these vaccines out here. It's been so great the last days to hear like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel be like, yeah, vaccines up in Canada, they don't have them. Ha! And I'm like, yeah, we don't. It's so sad. So
we got appointments available. Springfield Rite Aid. 3 miles
Paul,
that way.
I'll be down to you in a second, buddy. But enough about me. Enough about vaccines, more about Jeff Korns and Will Sherrill. And this is our hot round segment. We're going to give you some questions from our fans in the chat. We're going to play Whose Onyx Is It Anyways? We're going to talk about disc golf rules. And we're going to talk a little bit about Indian leg wrestling. So those are our topics for this next segment. Let's start it off with the Indian leg wrestling. So Jeff and Will, who would win in an Indian leg wrestling contest?
Hold on. Do any of them have Indian legs?
You don't need them, actually.
Oh, okay. That's more inclusive than I expected.
Yeah.
I got some solid
Any
thighs.
legs will do. Let's see it.
Will is showing his solid thighs on the podcast for any audio listeners.
You said
Again, be thankful.
NSFW, but I don't know if we're ready for that.
I'm going to put my money on Will Sherrill only because it says Rips in his name. Oh, gosh, folks.
Oh, baby.
I don't know, dude. You know, Jeff's always driving that RV. Like, he's always engaging lower body, even when he's not on the course. So, like, he's got
always on the
major
gas.
endurance. Yeah, he's got major. If it's the gas leg that he's wrestling with, I got Jeff.
All right, Kerns.
100%.
So Kerns, I'm not kidding. This is 100% for real. Will and Jeff Korns, the next time you guys are together in public, Adam Hammies has to film that leg wrestle. And Chris Kerns, I'll bet you a disc straight up over the winner of that leg wrestling match.
Done.
See you at USDGC, Jeff.
Let's do it.
Yeah, done.
I love this. And we
I'm
will
there.
play that video on the Circle 3 podcast, folks,
In the news segment.
in the news segment.
Yes.
On to more serious topics. This is a fun one Kerns thought about, and I love this question. Kerns, I was thinking about this all day. If a disc was made for you, specifically for you in your game, how would it fly? What would it be called? Jeff Korns, let's start with you.
It's called the Onyx. Discraft makes them.
Disqualified.
Yeah, this guy Paul Macbeth designed a really good disc, and I'm on Will's side. Like, this is the best Paul Macbeth disc that he designed. These Onyxes are
100%.
so good. I
Okay, so
don't,
what
like-
would you
I mean, I've-
name it then? If that's the perfect disc for you, because
The
I don't
Onyx
see
is already
you-
perfect.
I don't see you
One of the
naming a
Onyx.
disc Onyx, bro. I just don't see it.
Oh, well, maybe I would name it Hades. I actually I named the Hades. Little known fact.
Whoa, dropping some
Ooh.
knowledge.
Yeah. So okay. So Paul had a name that he was like going with. So you guys are familiar with like the naming scheme, like the number of letters was the number of titles he had at the time, basically. So he had like a name lined up and was like, like on this, and I was just like, but dude, like it's gonna come out like after your 5th title, you're gonna have to switch the name. You should go Hades, like, because he was like, I was like, God of the Underworld, Understable, like I think it just works, do it. And he was like, I actually like that. I like it kind of better than what he had in mind. So
So he was
obviously
thinking
he made the
and
call
you
at
were
the end of
like,
the day,
bro,
but
Hades.
I was like, dude, you should do Hades.
Nice.
So, and
I love that story.
if there's ever more, I think I deserve credit for the other names too, because I came up with some cool names for potential
Okay.
6-time discs. Maybe one day we'll see.
Well, Paul's actually on next episode, so we're gonna ask him point blank.
Do it. We're like, be like, who gave you the idea for the Hades? And
Yeah.
they'll be like, Jeff, for
Jeff
sure.
Korns.
No, I'll just say, when did Jeff tell you to call it a Hades? So, Will, what would you rename Onyx to?
That's a good question. I have no idea. All my friends make fun of it at the course call. When it came out, they called it the anus. So
Did you see that Zeus Onyx matchup in the
I
group
was about-
someone posted?
Yes.
I was about to ask about that if anyone saw that. I think that's awesome. I thought it was hilarious.
That was incredible.
Oh goodness.
most
So
of people
I
were
say-
just making fun of the spelling, though.
What do you
I
guys
like to
use your
say
Onyxes?
They hate us because they ain't us.
What do you guys use your Onyx for, Will and Jeff? I'd be curious to see if you're using it for the same kind of shot type, or what's the shot that you're really leaning on that Onyx for? Start with Will.
For sure. So I had one in my bag from the very first drop, and it was super stable at the get-go, but then it like beat in to just be like the perfect, like when I don't feel comfortable throwing a driver, I feel comfortable throwing that. And for me, it's just like I can throw it full power. I know it's not going to flip. It can hold in headwind. It can go a long way in tailwind. And so for me, if it's like 350 to 400 and I need to lace a line, I'm throwing the Onyx.
And for you, Jeff?
That is super similar for me, I'd say. So for the people who don't know, I used to work for Discmania, and I threw the PD a lot. It was probably like my, it's a similar driver in that like stability speed range. So I remember Paul got his like prototype Onyxes at Masters Cup in 2019 or 2019. Yeah, 2019. And he was like, dude, check it out. I got a Discraft like PD and it's swirlier and it looks cooler than yours. And I was like, okay, well, let me throw it and see how it actually flies. And I threw it and I was like, this is maybe the best disc ever. This thing glides. The glide's insane. I use it for, almost any kind of again, similar range that Will said, anywhere from 350 to 400. I have 3 in my bag right now, from straight to stable to straight to hyzer flip turnover. It's just like the go-to fairway driver for me.
I also
Well, I know
love the
you-
Onyx. Oh, Kerns, sorry, buddy. You have
I
it.
was just saying, Jeff, I'm pretty sure you've got a box of them right there next to you. Let's see a couple dime pieces.
I've got a few with me I brought over here. This is a new like prototype one I recently picked up, like neon green rim, gray and purple and pink in the flight plate, and then the bottom.
That is
This one
filthy.
feels super good. The ones that I look for the most that I really like are the ones that have just a little bit of dome to them. Not like they're by no means pop top, but just a little bit of dome and pretty stiff. I got this test flight recently, little pink halo rim with the yellow core. And then a couple more prototypes. It's just a nice blue halo, white,
Ooh, it's
kind of
pretty
like
foil.
pearly looking one. I don't know what foil it is. I wish that would have been cool if that was money foil. It almost looks like it. And then for being from Oregon, I do really like puck dyes. So I have 3 puck dyed onyxes as well. Kind of similar to like Will's colors, that he has a nice like red and white halo looking one. So I've got that one. This purple and red and pink and orange and all sorts of colors. And then this blue halo, pink center, just marbled. A little stiff, little pop. The best.
I
All right, so
love I love the Onyx, but for me, with the Onyx, I'm looking for the flattest Onyx I can find in the history of the world, because I'm not throwing it backhand, because I don't have that confidence to rip it backhand. I'm throwing it forehand, and for me, it's the 3 to 350 range. And if I'm looking for something that I want to just, I've got enough open space for it to turn a tiny little bit to the left on a right-hand forehand, and then just get that really, really, really consistent fade, I lean on my Onyx. And when I don't need as much fade as my Raptor, that's absolutely the disc I'm going to. And if I flick it on just a little bit of hyzer, it'll stand up and just get that amazing glide. And that's why I love it, because the Onyx gets just that touch more glide that I'm not getting from my Raptor because of the extra stability on the finish of it. So it's pushing me an extra 50, 60 feet that I get from my Raptor. So I love it for that shot. And the flatter, the better for me for those.
If we're going to show off Onyxes, I got to show off a couple.
Yeah, I was to say, Will, I know you got some gems there.
So shout out to Walter Murray. He sent me this bad boy. I think this is one of the best in existence. It's got matte pink. This thing is just nuts. It's got like a candy red rim, and then just like the white pink interior. And then
Well,
this one
when you
actually
die,
came.
You need to donate that one to science.
And this one actually came from Brandon. It's got the flower foil, kind of a golf ball white, super Z blend, and it's also got a little hint of orange in there that you can't really catch on camera. Maybe you can a little bit, but you can see it just barely. And then finally, one of my personal favorites, it's got like kind of the side splatter with the hollow foil. It's a sick Z blend as well. This
That
is
thing looks
on
like
the top shelf for me.
some kind of biological diagram.
I don't have the collection
yeah.
you guys do, but my gem would definitely be my Ghost Stamp Test Flight 104.
That thing's nuts, man.
And it's like this crazy, clear, swirly, webby ham special. Brian Arnold would eat your heart out, buddy.
That's a goodie.
All right, folks, we got a question for you guys now. Let's start with Paul Blair on this one, because I'd be really interested to hear your disc golf rule, Paul. So, if you could make your own disc golf rule, what would that disc golf rule be?
It's my chance to set the tyrannical standard, huh? You're not gonna like this one. So I come from a ball golf background, and I know this is not gonna win me any fans, but you're all wrong about this, so this is how it is. I would have to say no music on the course. No speakers. If I can hear it, you're out. Like it is a serene place of contemplation and the exercise of a combination of science and heart. It is not the place to play fish.
I wouldn't disagree. I'm a guy that used to play music on the course, but I had a couple friends who actually told me it bugged them and were upfront enough to let me know that. And I just started wearing my power beats on the course. They're secure enough. They stay on my ears when I throw a drive and they feel comfortable. So if I want to listen to music, I keep it inside, and I wouldn't disagree, Paul. What about you, Will? What would your disc golf rule be?
So this will definitely be controversial, and it may be surprising for people that know my game, but I think the circle needs to be a little bigger. I think 45 feet would be the sweet spot for a new circle. I just think for me, I'm a very proficient step putter. Anybody that plays with me knows that, and I feel like it's almost cheating from like 35 feet for me to be able to step putt, because it's like I'm barely gonna miss those. I think 45 feet pushes it back enough that like you can argue that it's necessary to fall forward on a putt, or have the excuse to, I guess. But yeah, I think the circles should just be a little bit bigger.
Do you feel like that presents a gender inequity question? Do you feel like there should be different circle sizes for men and women? Does it matter to you?
I don't think so. As far as putting mechanics go, I mean, I don't see a huge difference between the two. And so, depending on the player, obviously, there are some players that have totally different strokes. But I think 45 feet is fair for any division.
Different strokes for different folks.
So that's about 15 meters for our Canadian friends.
What about you, Kernsy? What's your rule you'd like to make?
Okay, here's the first one that comes to mind for me. And if you guys want to say it doesn't count, because maybe it's more of a competition standard, then I'll just rip off the cuff something else. But I would put a hard cap between AM1 and Open. I don't care about if you accepted cash. Like, I'd put a rating cap on it, probably like 975. Boom, you're an Open. Now, maybe that rating number wouldn't age well because of where I think the sport's kind of going, but I would still just put a rating cap on it. That's me.
From Kerns to Korns, Mr. Korns.
I'm gonna go from the perspective of like the touring pro level. I think that if you were gonna be playing like PDGA national tours, pro tours, and pro majors, that you need to be classified as a professional to play those events. There should be no, like, if you want to stay classified as an amateur, you should not be playing on the disc golf pro tour. Make your way up through your local pro events. If you want to play like the pro-am events, so to say, do that. But if you want to play on the big stage, you need to be a professional.
Kerns and Korns boxing them in. We're making people make choices.
So
I'll throw a bonus question out there.
yeah,
Some people have proposed a limit on the number of discs. Golf limits you to 14 clubs. Would you say that a limit on the number of discs would enhance the game? It certainly would make it more accessible to less affluent players. The rest of us would still buy 1,000 discs a year anyway. What do you guys think? Will?
I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I think the limit needs to be realistic. I think like 25. I mean, enough to get you by. I only carry about 24 to 26 anyway. And so I think 25 is kind of a sweet spot, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a necessary rule that needs to be added.
Jeff?
I'm going to say no, not whatsoever, because the difference in golf to disc golf in this case is, you're not losing golf clubs on the course, but you could be losing discs on the course. There's no cap on the number of balls that you can carry with you to complete your round. So I think it's a different element of the game.
I mean, they get 14 clubs. We only have 2 arms. 2 arms.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Right?
limited by the number of arms I can probably throw a disc with.
Equate the disc to the
and
golf
Jeff,
ball.
I don't
Yeah.
normally throw them with 2
You could
hands,
limit it
but
to 2.
There is no
Carry
limit on the number
two
of balls.
limits.
So
You'd be okay with that, Kerns, if they limited it to 2 arms, like PDGA? You'd be totally cool with that.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, good. It's good to know.
100%.
I think for me, it's hard to state this rule, but the rule I would try to just spend all my focus and effort into brainstorming is how to regulate rule infractions on the course. It's
Oh my gosh.
It's been made incredibly obvious that having players enforce infractions on a card is just really hard to do from a perspective of it's awkward, from a perspective of you don't know if anyone's going to second you, and if they don't, what does that look like? You know what I mean? And from a perspective of sometimes you just don't feel like it's your place. And I'd love to say, oh, put a rules official on every card, but you can't do that because you can't pay them. And maybe you have the volunteers who could go, but then you're going to have issues with professional players who don't want volunteers that aren't trained making these calls. So like, it's really tough, right? But for me, I think that's the one thing that needs to change more than anything else. Yes, I'm talking about Nico Lacastro taking 90 seconds to make a putt and similar discrepancies that, you know, when they're not so obvious, they might not. But we've had professional players like Brad Schick come on last week and tell us how much something like that affects the flow of his game when someone like that is on a card taking long, or when someone is being obscene and kicking their bag and just making a fool of themselves, right? How do you call them on that? I don't want you guys to have to talk about situations like that and specifically call people out, but like, have you guys encountered those situations? And like, Will, how awkward is that on the course?
Well, it's funny that you ask because just like 2 tournaments ago, we had a foot fault thing on my card that really threw the vibe off. I actually am the one that called it. Me and Phil Bartholomew were on the card, and the guy was running down a wet hill on approaching his lie, and he missed his lie. I mean, it was pretty obvious. You could see where his foot moved the leaves, and it was, it wasn't even close. And so I called the foot fault. Phil seconded, and it was super awkward the rest of the time. That guy didn't take it well. He argued a lot, and he ended up like being super sarcastic the rest of the round, and it really just threw the vibe off on the card. And so I don't know what the answer is to fixing that rule other than having officials, but I mean, like you said, that's going to be extremely hard unless you're like talking about like Worlds or Pro Tour or something where they could actually maybe afford to have some officials out there. But it's going to be really tough, especially for your local events. I mean, it's just going to have to be awkward. But in the professional division, I always go in with kind of the same expectation that we have to follow the rules, even if it's awkward to enforce them. So if I see it, I'm going to call it. If I don't see it, I'm not. And we're going to play by the same rules. So.
And Jeff, what's that like on tour? What's the vibe like on tour when it comes to, regulation of rule infractions?
It's definitely like a topic that's discussed more and more frequently. And like you kind of brought up with Nico being on a lot of lead or featured cards, that players are frustrated with, the situation. And a lot of players, regardless of who they are, don't want to call him or call anyone on anything. Like Will said, it makes an awkward, weird environment. Like, even like, and also for some things, for example, I know that Simon brought up, the time, like Nico taking too long to throw. Like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to sit there with like a stopwatch? Like as soon as he addresses his lie, that's when you start your stopwatch. And then, if it hits 30 seconds, like, do you just stop and be like, hey, that was your 30 seconds. Like, your time's up. Like, that's your warning or whatever. Like, you're getting stroked. Like, what are you doing at that point in time? Where does the line get drawn of, oh, he's like in his backswing, like he's starting his run up or whatever? Like, there's just a lot of like weird gray areas, and I don't think it's something the players should be calling.
100%. Your gray area is a great way to put it, because Kerns even brought up, Kerns, you were doing that live interview with Nid, and you were actually giving her a tip. about how to deal with distractions when you're driving. And that's another thing when you talk
Yeah.
about the gray areas of this rule, Jeff, because all a player has to do is talk about, oh, there was a visual distraction. There was a visual distraction in my line of sight. So, I had to step off my lie. And now my 30-second clock restarts again. So it's so disputable, and there's so many gray areas and so much stuff. I agree. It's hard for the players to call. It's impossible right now to fund at every PDGA sanctioned event. So I think, again, maybe it's one of those things where at a certain caliber event, the really big events, USDGC, stuff like that, maybe it's something they got to figure out. But good topic. I absolutely love it.
I think a piece of that too, and anyone that's taken the certified officials exam will agree, if you're gonna go towards having like actual officials, that exam needs to be like harder and timed. Because if you fail the exam, I'm sorry, dude, like it's not hard.
It's open book. Like, you really shouldn't get a question wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I remember
I think
I remember being 12 years old, and I was like an umpire of like, I was like at like 13, 14 years old umping like 17, 18-year-olds, because I started umping early. But I remember like how intense umpire training camp was. And like, if you failed, like, screw you, you're not an umpire this year. Like, see you later, buddy. And like, they made it hard because people's safety is at stake, right? And oh, there goes my battery. It's all good. People's safety's at stake, and people, it's a really huge deal, right? And I think I agree, Kerns. It would need to be taken so seriously, and designating officials, especially with these professionals this has never been a thing for them. They've never had people to hold them accountable to these rules. So now all of a sudden you put a third party who's not invested in here to hold them accountable to these rules. Who knows what their interests are? Are they fans? Who's gonna want to be a rules official, right? Probably a disc golf fan. Who are they a fan of? Are they gonna be biased towards their favorite players? It's really, really, really hard. I've thought about this a lot, and I'm not a touring pro, as you guys can tell. So it's pretty crazy.
And I think nobody wants to be the guy that calls Nico, because how Nico typically reacts to any kind of rule stuff. And so why would
Haley would be happy
you don't
calling him
want
out.
to be that guy.
I mean, the purpose of the rules exam, I think, for players to be certified, it's more so that you can't argue you didn't know the rules if you are called. And I think that the one cultural thing we could take from ball golf is that sense of honor that comes with calling yourself on things. I think that what the culture shift we need is for people to know the rules well and call themselves more often.
That's a great point.
What one stroke is, it may cost you a tournament, but if it makes you an honorable player, it's worth it. So.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay, first of all,
we've got a question.
Stay off my lawn.
We've got a question in the chat from Adam Scott Howard. So I think this is great for Jeff and Will. You guys have played a lot of different types of courses. So with the growth of the sport, do you think there's a chance that you'll see more balance between courses designed for left-handed disc golfers and right-handed disc golfers? I'm assuming what Adam is saying is that disc golf courses right now are really catered towards right-handed players. Do you agree with that? If not, that's okay. I'd love your take on that and how you feel about kind of course design in that aspect. We'll start with you, Jeff.
It's really hard to say, and I've talked course design a lot with a lot of different people. It's there's times where I'm like, especially with tour courses, we'll be like, oh, this is a really forehand friendly course, or like a lefty friendly course, or this might be favor whatever part of the game. And I think that's totally something you could see in golf as well. Like, people who are good at certain aspects of certain shots, there might favor someone else's game more than other people's. And I think it just comes to being if you want to be competitive at every single event, that you need to be a well-rounded player in all those aspects of your game.
Absolutely. And Will, what about you, buddy?
I agree with that. I mean, it just depends on the course, I mean, there's so many new courses going in. I think every new course I play seems to be much more balanced than like the older courses that have been in a while. But I mean, there are things that a left-handed shot can be an advantage to you, even on holes that are right, might be more favored towards right hand. So with the way the game is progressing, I see it's going to just get more and more balanced because people are actually thinking about it now.
Absolutely. Well, we're just about out of time. Before we wrap up, we want to give our guests a chance to put forward some final thoughts. So, Will, I know you got something special coming up, I think, over the next couple weeks. Why don't you take a quick second to tell us about that? And yeah.
For sure. So first of all, shout out to Chris Pickwell, because Chris is actually the one who came up with hashtag Will Sherrill Rips. Kind of how I ended up getting onto the Discraft Underground was because I started making these dumb little review videos in my backyard, which is a golf course. And I would just, get a new run of zone and go out there and throw a bunch of different zones. I actually threw a black get freaky zone in one of my earlier videos, which is hilarious to me now. But anyway, that whole Will Sherrill Rips brand, I don't know what you want to call it, but kind of took off, and Discraft noticed. I got picked up by Discraft, and now I've got these beautiful discs for a tournament that I'm showing you the real saucy ones that I'm actually keeping. This thing is nasty. It's so much better in real life. It's like super blendy. And then finally, another Wonder Bread.
Oh my God.
Got a little pink gray swirl. Can't go wrong. But I've got a tournament coming up this Saturday. It's really just for fun for the locals here in North Carolina to be able to get their hands on some discs, especially with the availability of plastic right now. I know it's been really tough for people to even get Discraft discs. And so shout out to Discraft for hooking me up with some beautiful plastic to share with the people in North Carolina. I will have a few of these left probably after the event. Likely, I'm not 100% sure, but going to be able to sell those to kind of support me this year and pay for some tournament entries, that kind of thing.
And Kerns and I have officially labeled those page approved. So
Yeah.
those are official Discraft Macbeth and Pierce page approved discs. So Will Sherrill, you feel
Especially
free to
these sexy Lunas I got.
you feel free to do what you want on our page with those discs if you got some left, buddy. Because I know our page would love to get their hands on some Will Sherrill rips. Thank you so much for being
honestly,
on tonight, buddy.
There's going to be less than 10 available, so people better be ready if they want them.
Dibs. I need one.
And speaking of other limited, fantastic, hot, desired, in-demand releases, Mr. Jeff Korns with Resistance Discs. You got any other upcoming heat you want to talk about? Anything you want to leak here for our listeners?
Yeah, we got a couple new custom runs coming up. Some tour fundraiser discs for our players. I think our next one, it's going to be the first one coming soon, is going to be some Scott Withers Tour Series ESP Forces. Those are going to be really sweet. I know a lot of people have been asking about Tour Series ESP Forces since the 2019 run, so I am super excited for those. We've also got some Crystal Buzz OSs for Scott as a fundraiser. Some Tour Series Putterline Hard Challenger SSs. Got a really long name, but Scott loves the Challenger SS. It's a putter that I've really taken to this year as well. So we got those three coming out for him. We have for Haley King, our first one is going to be some Glow Z Buzzes for her.
Nice.
Those are going to be super sick. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on some personally to throw. And then we have some planned restocks of the Adam Hammis Glow Z Zones, the Adam Hammis Crystal Raptors, and some more of the Tour Series Jawbreaker Wasps as well, with probably some new artwork in the future. So lots of cool stuff in the works.
Are those Hammis zones going to be the same colors as last time, or?
No, we're going to mix it up and do a few different colors. I'm not going to release the colors yet because we could end up getting some transition sleeves or something between some colors. Might have a little bit of something, but there's going to be one color that is going to be really cool.
Nice.
That's all I'll say.
I love it.
And what a tease.
It's amazing. Well, Jeff Korns, Will Sherrill, thank you guys so much for being on Circle 3 tonight. we're going to ask you guys to hang around for a couple seconds while we close off the show. But we appreciate your time so much. Jeff, good luck out there on tour. Good luck for the rest of the year. I don't think that momentum is going to stop for Resistance, buddy, this year, because disc golf is just getting more crazy and more crazy.
Yeah, and we have some really cool things in the works as well right now. We might, there's not too much news to announce yet, but I think there's going to be some big news early next week as well in regards to some tour stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for what's in the works.
There's another teaser for you.
Yeah.
And Will Sherrill, buddy, we know, you said you're at home a lot, so I don't feel so bad taking up your time, but I still appreciate it, man. And so great to have you guys on here. If our guests haven't sensed yet, our theme is kind of bringing on two guests that are freaking awesome by themselves, but also, have some sort of cool connection. And it's really cool that you and Jeff have been able to work together this year. And I know from talking to you, Will, how much you support, how much you appreciate the support from Resistance, and I can see from the smile on your face, Jeff, probably how much you enjoy working with this guy with this sexy mustache on the center of our screen right now. So
absolutely.
Will, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you so much. And we will talk to you guys very soon. Hope you guys have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And
Thank you.
Adios, amigos.
And Chris and Paul, as always, it's been a great time talking to you guys. Paul, you're throwing a little sore there, buddy?
It's not my best voice day.
It just got sexier and sexier as the night went on.
That's one man's opinion.
Well, this was
Hopefully
an
only
awesome
one man's
episode. Chris Kerns, you got any final thoughts, buddy?
Just another good time kicking it with the boys in Circle 3.
Well, we hope all of you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. Get out there, play some disc golf, enjoy nature, and please, please, please do not play those Bluetooth speakers too loud while you're out on the course. With that, from Brandon, Chris, and Paul, and thanks to our incredible guests, Jeff Korns and Will Sherrill, this is the Circle 3 Podcast. Have a great night.